Do you swear that the testimony you will give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Governor Noem, you are now recognized for your opening statement.
Well, thank you, and good morning, Chairman Paul, Ranking Member Peters, and the distinguished members of this committee. I'm honored to appear before all of you today as the nominee for the Secretary of Homeland Security. I want to thank President-elect Donald J. Trump for his confidence in my leadership, and the people of South Dakota for their fantastic support throughout my time in public service. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to Senator Kramer. He has been an invaluable resource to me throughout this process and given me much wisdom as well as insight into the thoughts and the procedures of the Senate and this body. And I'd also like to express my gratitude to Senator Thune, the majority leader of this esteemed body. He's been an advisor to me for many years as well as a friend, and I'm so grateful for the generous support of these two men and their willingness to be here this morning to speak on my behalf and to introduce me to this committee. Now, I'm a wife and a mother and a grandmother, a farmer, rancher, business person. I've served in our state legislature, in Congress for 8 years, and also a governor. I've spent my entire life in rural America. I understand what it means to work hard every single day and to build a better future for your kids and for all of our communities. I come before you today with a deep sense of responsibility and a humility as the nominee to lead the Department of Homeland Security, and also a commitment to the more than 330 Americans who we will work together to help serve and to keep safe and secure in their homes and in their communities. Now, before I proceed, I want to introduce to you my husband, Brian, who's here with me today. He is my constant 24/7 reminder of our dedication to public service and that it's not a solo effort or done alone. He has been a rock by my side, and I appreciate all of his love over so many years. I'm grateful that he's here with me today. Now, securing our homeland is a serious, sacred trust that must be relentlessly pursued and can never be taken for granted. Being safe within our borders here in America is critical, and yet Americans feel less safe than they have felt in decades. For the first time in 30 years, more than 40% of Americans are afraid to walk alone at night within a mile of their homes. President-elect Trump is going to change that. I've seen firsthand the challenges and the opportunities facing our great nation. In the 20 years since the Department of Homeland Security was formed, the nature of the threats to our homeland has grown and they've evolved. This department was created in response to the failures of the government that led to the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. And that reality is not lost on me, especially in the wake of the recent terrorist attacks over New Year's. Now, I've led South Dakota for the last 6 years with a focus every day on making our state safer, stronger, and freer. I've focused every day on making the best decisions, not just for right now, but for generations to come. I've overseen a state budget of over $7 billion and a state employee workforce of more than 13,000, including more than 7,000 that report directly to the governor. I've addressed important issues like cybersecurity, human trafficking, drug interdiction, and also natural disasters, the same challenges that are facing so many of you and the people that you represent back home. I've secured our state and supported the rule of law. And if confirmed as the 8th Secretary, that is the same approach that I will take to leading the Department of Homeland Security. As we face the evolving threats of the 21st century, the mission and the success of DHS is more critical than ever. We must be vigilant and proactive and innovative to protect the homeland. The challenges in front of us are extremely significant, and we must secure our borders against illegal trafficking and immigration. We must safeguard our critical infrastructure to make sure that we're protected against cyber attacks, respond to natural disasters, and also terrorism. I firmly believe that we can meet those challenges head-on with resolve. Innovation, we can use collaboration with federal and with state partners. And senators, I want your input. Border security must remain a top priority. As a nation, we have the right and the responsibility to secure our borders against those who would do us harm. And we must create a fair and a lawful immigration system that is efficient and is effective and that reflects our values. President Trump was elected with a clear mandate. He needs to achieve this mission because 2/3 of Americans support his immigration and border policies, including the majority of Hispanic Americans. I was the first governor to send National Guard troops to our southern border when Texas asked for help and when they were being overwhelmed by an unprecedented border crisis. If confirmed as secretary, I'll ensure that our exceptional, extraordinary Border Patrol agents have all the tools and resources and support that they need to carry out their mission effectively. The same is true of my commitment to the outstanding men and women of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They are responsible for apprehending, detaining, and deporting illegal immigrants. And getting criminal aliens off of our streets and out of the country will help American communities be safer again. The bravery and the dedication of the Border Patrol and ICE are unmatched, and I will restore dignity to their work. The rising threat of cyber attacks also demands our utmost attention, and our critical infrastructure, from energy grids to financial institutions, is under constant attack by foreign adversaries and criminal actors. As Secretary, I will prioritize a comprehensive, whole-of-government approach to cybersecurity. In fact, in the coming days, we have to plan bigger and think faster and smarter. I fully acknowledge that people in Washington, D.C. do not have all of the answers, and therefore I will leverage private-public partnerships. I'll advance cutting-edge, state-of-the-art technologies to protect our nation's digital landscape. And I will have a proven track record of doing this in South Dakota to back me up. I've helped make Dakota State University a global leader in cybersecurity education because we recognize the need to address this emerging threat. And I will take a proactive approach if given the opportunity to serve as secretary. Now, President-elect Trump has been a tremendous friend to law enforcement over the years, and I will do the same in my role as secretary. As governor, I've worked closely with law enforcement to make South Dakota safer. I've overseen hundreds of state troopers in the South Dakota Highway Patrol, and on several occasions, I've convened groups of law enforcement from across our state to address policies that will make our people safer. In fact, while some in this country were attacking law enforcement and defunding them, we took the opposite approach in South Dakota. We recruited law enforcement officers to move to South Dakota, a state that respects their service and their sacrifice. And we revamped our law enforcement training to provide the first ever state-led, tribal-focused law enforcement training academy. I'm very proud of the work that we've done in cooperation with our tribes to help make their communities more safe. And we must remain vigilant against terrorism and against others who wish to do us harm to our country and to our great people. I'll ensure that our intelligence and our law enforcement agencies are working together hand in hand, that they're fully equipped to detect, prevent, and respond to threats from radical ideologies and foreign adversaries. This requires resources, coordination, and collaboration across all levels of government. And once again, I will seek your wisdom and I will seek your input into the months ahead. For the sake of the people that we both represent, we have to get this right. Now, I recognize that Homeland Security isn't just about prevention, but it's also about resilience. When disasters strike, as we know they will, the Department of Homeland Security must be ready to respond swiftly, efficiently, and effectively to protect the lives and the property of Americans. As governor, I've worked with FEMA in response to a dozen natural disasters in South Dakota. These have included historic floods, tornadoes, blizzards, wildfires, a derecho, and even a global pandemic. As secretary, I will enhance our emergency preparedness and strengthen FEMA's capabilities. And we will ensure that no community is left behind and that life-saving services like electricity and water are quickly restored. As secretary, I will oversee the Secret Service, an agency that is in serious need of reforms. We all saw the threats to President-elect Trump last year and the consequences of failure. Now, that should never happen again. And I've worked closely with my own gubernatorial protective detail, and I'm familiar with what works and what doesn't work. And I'll bring that experience towards strengthening the Secret Service once again. I'm committed to working with this committee, with Congress, and with the dedicated men and women of the Department of Homeland Security to fulfill our mission. And together, we can ensure that the United States remains a beacon of freedom, safety, and security for generations to come. So thank you for the opportunity and the honor to appear before you today. Thank you for the meetings and the time that you took in your office to discuss the department and what we can do in the future to make the American homeland much more secure. I look forward to your questions, and I hope to earn your trust, and hopefully also your vote as we embark on this critical work together. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.